Once upon a time, before the great flood, and in the time of dragons and magic, there existed a kingdom named Grandia. Grandia was at the top of a very tall mountain, a fortress surrounded, and a long, winding road leading up to the castle in the sky. Grandia was ruled by the wise King George and his beautiful bride, Queen Maria. They loved each other very much, and they ruled with compassion and care over their kingdom. But there was one thing that King George and Queen Maria wanted more than anything else in the world. They wanted a child to call their own. So the king and queen were thrilled one night when the mighty wizard of the kingdom stopped by the castle to inform them that they would indeed have a child, a beautiful baby girl, and that she would rule over the kingdom with kindness and compassion just as they had. The king and queen were so happy that they asked the great wizard what they should name the child. They wanted to show their appreciation to the wizard, and they wanted everything to be perfect for their new daughter. The wizard handed the king a sparkling amulet made of gold, inscribed only with 2 letters, C.J. The wizard told the king that when the time was right, that the princess's true love would be the only one to know her name, and then until that time, this should be the amulet that the princess wears to protect her and to guide her through her life. So the king and queen took to calling the princess CJ, and CJ grew up to be beautiful and kind, loving, smart, perfect in every way. She was indeed the beautiful princess they had always wanted. All was not perfect in the kingdom, however. Each night, a cruel, evil dragon flew up to the highest tower where the princess slept and looked over her. This cruel and evil dragon could not do anything to the princess because of her magic amulet. However, he invaded her dreams every night, causing her to suffer from terrible nightmares and poor sleep. One day, on the princess's 18th birthday, purely by chance, the royal florist was ill with the flu. Therefore, his new apprentice had to deliver the roses to the princess. He took them, put them in the finest bundle he could find, and carried them to the castle to deliver to the beautiful princess. A funny thing happened when the young apprentice was able to deliver the roses to the princess on her birthday. They locked eyes, smiled, and both of them realized instantly that they were soulmates and in love with each other. When the young apprentice, the beautiful Princess CJ, informed her parents that they planned to marry, the king was not at all happy. His princess could not be dissuaded, for she loved the young apprentice very much. The king had always imagined her marrying a brave knight and not some young apprentice at a florist shop. The king thought about it, and he said, "Okay, I will let you marry under 2 conditions. You must slay the dragon that invades the dreams of my princess every night, and you must provide 1,000 diamonds as the dowry for her hand in marriage." As Princess CJ watched her young love disappear into the distance, it is said that the sound of the heartbreak was heard like a thunderclap across the kingdom, and the princess's tears caused 100 days of rain in the kingdom of Grandia. But the young florist apprentice knew something that Princess CJ did not. The night before leaving on his quest, he had spoken with the magical wizard of the kingdom. The wizard had provided him with a sword, a great sword, with 4 large openings in the hilt. These openings, the wizard told him, could only be filled by 4 stones, magic stones, and these stones existed at the furthest edges of the earth, north, south, east, and west. If he was able to obtain these stones, the wizard informed him, he would defeat the dragon, and also true love would reign. Each night, the princess stared out her tower window and longed for her true love. For 2 years, her true love scoured the earth, tackling every raging ocean and every violent monster to reach the farthest ends of the north, south, east, and west of the entire earth in order to find the gems with which he might defeat the dragon that invaded the princess's dreams. After 24 excruciating months, her true love had still not returned, and the princess took one last look out her window and said a little prayer. She asked that if her true love could not return to her, that she be set free of the love she felt, so that she might love another. And just as she was offering this prayer, the princess spotted in the distance, in front of the sunrise, a figure on a horse riding toward her. Princess CJ could hardly believe her eyes. The young florist apprentice who had left 2 years before had returned a brave and courageous knight. He had vanquished monsters far and wide, traveled the entire earth in order to secure the stones that he needed to free her from the terrible dragon. That night, as every night, the dragon returned to terrorize the princess in her dreams. But on this particular night, there stood in his way the young florist apprentice who had since become a knight of great courage and great honor. When the dragon saw the knight, he laughed loudly. He said to the knight angrily, "How dare you think you could stop me, you miserable little human? I will end you, and I will continue to terrorize your precious princess in her dreams." The evil dragon swooped in toward the knight with his mouth open, his fangs exposed, and his breath hot. At that moment, the knight pulled from the scabbard upon his back the sword that he had left with all those many months ago. And on the sword, where there had once been empty spaces, there were now 4 magical jewels: diamond, ruby, emerald, and a sapphire. And upon drawing the sword, it began to glow with a magical blue light. The brave knight swung his sword mightily and hit the dragon in midair as it approached. An explosion of blue and green light lit up the sky. When the light of the explosion settled down and green smoke lifted into the sky, the knight and Princess CJ could see something falling from where the dragon's body had once been. They were diamonds, 1,000 diamonds to be exact. At that same moment, a brilliant red glow surrounded the magical amulet that the princess had worn since her birth. The letters C and J started to fill in, and a name was spelled out. I would tell you the name, but unfortunately, only her true love, the once apprentice florist and now brave knight, can know. In the meantime, you can be happy knowing that the one power above all that can triumph over evil and dragons and months away and far distances and anything else that the world might throw at you is true love. The end.